Welcome to Story Jam Theater. I'm your host, Chris Krimitsos. If you're moved and inspired by stories, then you're in the right place. On today's show, we have one of our veteran storytellers, Ron Laker, talking about his experience being a freshman playing college basketball for Xavier University. This one is called Take the Shot. Enjoy.
It's December 1972. It's a couple of days before Christmas, and I'm at Xavier University at basketball practice. I'm a freshman at Xavier, and I'm one of the only freshmen that are practicing with the varsity basketball team. At the end of practice, in a couple hours, everybody on varsity is going to be taking off, and they're headed to a holiday tournament in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I'm headed home to see my family, and I was very excited about that. Practice gets over, and I walk back to my dorm room, and I'm about 5 minutes away from literally hopping in my car and taking off when I hear this rap on the door. And it's one of the student managers walks up, and he says, "Laker, grab your stuff. You're going to Las Cruces, New Mexico." I said, "Excuse me?" He says, "Yes, Scotty Franklin, the starting point guard on the team, had just broken his foot. You're on the roster. You're going to New Mexico." So 30 minutes later, I'm on a bus headed to the Cincinnati airport, and an hour and a half later, I'm on a flight to Las Cruces, New Mexico. I don't think much about it at the time, but we get to the tournament, and I get into the first game that we're playing. And I realize much years later, literally 30 years later, that I was the first freshman to ever play basketball at Xavier University. Because in 1972 was the first year that they allowed freshmen to play. They wanted freshmen in college at Division I level athletics to be more ingrained in the student activity before they got involved in the athletics. Well, we played that first game, and I got a few insignificant minutes. Played in the second game, we got beat in the semifinals, and our tournament was over, and I was headed back to Cincinnati. We were still on Christmas break, and the campus is completely desolate. There's nobody there except 12 or 13 basketball players. We go to the University of Miami to play a basketball game. It's an afternoon game at 1 o'clock. After having played only a few insignificant minutes prior to this, I find myself on the floor at the end of the game. And we are down by a couple of points, and the score's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, we get down to the last 6 seconds of the game. And I'm up at the top of the key. At the baseline is the basketball. The ball gets swung across underneath the basket, pops out to the opposite elbow. It comes up to me at the top of the key. I get the ball. I fake left, put the ball on the floor, and I go up 3, 2, 1. It's the absolute Sandlot story that every athlete's ever played in his head. Hitting the winning shot, scoring the winning goal, hitting the winning home run. Well, anyway, as I squared up with that 3, 2, 1 in my mind, I saw what I thought was a better player and a more deserving player, Jay Eck, underneath the basket. So I threw him the ball as the buzzer went off, and we lost the game by 1. I don't think anybody in the world remembers that story but me. I have never forgotten that story, and when the opportunities in life happen, you got to take your shot. Thank you.
To learn more about our storytellers, go to storyjamtheater.com. Make sure to live a life worth telling, and we'll see you next week.
This has been a Story Jam Theater podcast. Production support provided by Anthony Kovic of Real Video Production and Stuart Mackey of Mackey Productions. All stories are true as affirmed by the storytellers. Special thanks to the Film Commission of Florida, The Hive, and the Tampa Bay area.